All right, we're going to get started here. It's 11:01, and again, I want to be respectful of your time as well. And thanks again for jumping on the call. I know there'll be some other accounts jumping in here as we get going here. But first of all, I want to thank you. Thank you for your time as we kick off another Wednesday workshop call. And I'm excited to have my friend here, Richard Carrolls. He's going to talk about install, best practice sharing, and so on. And it's just gonna be great to listen to all of his great content and then his expertise. So again, I want to thank him for his time. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and we'll get started here in a second. Dan, can you see my screen? I know you're Dan Bolin. Okay.
Yep.
Are we good? Okay, excellent. All right, so with that, welcome again for the 2022 PCC installer training. Again, I want to thank you for jumping on the call. What we're trying to do, guys, is just really kind of create some content that is important for you all as you go about your business. And with install being a huge topic right now, especially for training your installers, but then really finding a solution for your installation needs, right? So there's some accounts out there that maybe their stable isn't as full as they'd like to see, with their installers, and maybe looking for a company like ourselves to lean on for all your installation needs. But if that's not the case for you, and you just want to get some best practice sharing and get a better understanding of what does good look like, I have my friend Richard here to kind of go through all that. And with that, I'm gonna kick it off to Richard.
How you guys doing? My name's Richard. I'm an installation manager here. I have owned and operated Custom Choice and Install Company since 2004. I've actually subcontracted with Pella for over 20 years, and I just started here back July 26th as an install manager. So
with that, Richard, in the life of an installation manager, what does that really look like?
Just managing the crews that install, when they have problems, when they have they don't have the right material, if they have questions about how something's supposed to be done, because everyone has kind of different thoughts on how to do things, and we want to try to install everything the way corporate says,
sure, because
then we can get corporate to actually cover a large part of that warranty. As long as we follow what they say, it covers us better.
The warranty is a big issue, and absolutely, with the business and risk, right? It's all about managing just what you can manage, and that's part of that is risk. So leveraging our capabilities with Richard's team and having a certified contractor install those jobs for you. Not only do you get a fantastic install, but you also get a fantastic warranty as well. So yeah, thanks for the update on that. And then really maybe just share with the team here just the type of installs that we're doing.
So we do all the installs. You have your new construction. Typically we want house wrap on the house versus grate. We have no low profile, which is a no nail fin, so you're not disturbing siding or LP smart side trim or whatever trim they may have. We also have a full frame nail fin, so if there's brick mold on the window, we take that off. Nail fin goes in there, and you can wrap or trim it for whatever you want, or you take the siding off and use your nail fin, put the siding back on. And of course, we do bays.
So if I'm a contractor and let's say my installer called in sick, right? And I need to have someone install this job for me. And maybe it's a full frame replacement. Are you guys taking all the vinyl siding off, or if it's steel siding? How do you go about doing that?
Steel siding, we typically don't take off.
Okay.
Because it's a lot more difficult, and really it depends on how it's sold to the customer. Some customers want that nail fin on there. To do a no nail fin install is approved by Pella. So as long as you follow the proper methods of what to do, they will warranty that install.
Okay. So if I'm a contractor and let's say I'm going to do the installation, but I want to follow the manufacturer's specifications, is it as simple as going on to Pella.com and going down to installations and reviewing that?
Correct, yeah, or you can go to YouTube. I mean, there's YouTube videos out there, or you can always call here at Pella and somebody here to help you.
Okay, excellent. There's back end support to help make
Sure.
sure that you guys are doing it. And then it looks like we have a slide here for a block frame foundation for that installation. So, what are some of the things, or the key things to be on the lookout for?
So really, you want those composite shims. Pella requires composite shims. They don't want wood shims. Mainly that's underneath your window. If you're using something on the side, that's, wood shim on the side, that's gonna be fine, but you really need to use composite underneath your window. You want those underneath where the malls are.
And why is that?
Just that's where your support is.
Okay.
You're just worried about bending that frame. Sometimes you need them to lift the frame up. So it just all depends. Pella has every window comes with a sticker on it, tells you where the shim points are. So if you need more, that's okay, but they really want you to at least put them in these spots for sure.
Great. I thought it was more for if you had wooden shims, is there for like wicking up water through the wood shim, but it's really for support. Okay.
Yeah, it's for, and they say it could wick water, but if your window's installed properly, you shouldn't be having moisture in there.
What about this?
Yep. You want your sealant hourglass, so you don't want to just fill in a big void and just fill it with caulking, because it's more likely to break. So if you get the back rod farther back and you tool your sealant in there, that center is going to be thinner and the edges will be thicker, so it'll actually stretch and when the material moves.
Sure. I see we have some flashing tape on here as well. I know a lot of other manufacturers, they say that their flashing tape is better, but so why do we use our Pella flashing tape?
It sticks better when it's cold.
Okay.
than most other. Plus with that the metal foil over top of it, you can actually heat it with a heat gun in the wintertime if you need to get it to stick and apply. So, it has its pros definitely for that. Plus, it's easy to work with. You can tear it with your hands. You don't need a knife. It molds pretty easy.
Adding a case of Pella flashing tape on the next job as well, so it's pretty reasonably priced, and it sounds like it's a better solution too. So it's a low expansion foam, right? So that's a must.
That's an absolute must. Yeah, Pella requires all their product to be spray foam with low expansion. Low expansion obviously isn't going to bow and bend your frames. Hopefully, it's not going to pour all over inside your house when it expands too much.
I know I have to about best practice, right, for installing this. There's been some misconceptions out there where it's okay, do I want the foam all the way to the front of the frame and then all the way to the room side basically? And then you said no, there needs to be a pocket in there, right? So maybe explain.
Really, your jam extension doesn't need to be insulated. Your window is what needs to be insulated. So ideally, if you get the needle of your foam all the way to the outside of the nailing pin, pull it back about an inch and a half, and then put about an inch of material in there, and that's going to expand enough to where it will seal. You can spray your jam, but you need to spray the window first. But the jam doesn't need any spray foam on it.
We kind of covered that here. We'll kind of go to the next slide. So maybe talk to us about the flangeless install, full frame replacement without disturbing the break or siding for block frame windows, or we call it a low profile install.
Correct. So this, you just use your Sawzall, your oscillating saw, you cut out just around the frame, get that out, get that window cleaned out. And what you're going to do is you're going to pan flash your bottom like you normally would, going down over the house wrap if you can into the opening, come up a couple inches, and then where your sheathing is, you want to fill that spot from the siding to the 2x with sealant, whether you have to tool it or whether you can just fill it on there. And then you're going to do that on your sides, and you want your tape going from your siding material all the way tight back into that caulking into the rough opening. You just need one roll. And then I believe we have another slide coming up that's going to show the drip cap. So you want your head flashing, get getting behind the paper. So you cannot do a low profile install if the house does not have paper. Pella won't warranty that.
So if you're on a job site, unless if there's no, house wrap, maybe that old buffalo board or some of that older material that was used back in the 70s, maybe, right? So be on the lookout for that. And let's just say, sales rep ordered a bunch of low profile windows and come to realize there's no house wrap. What do you do?
Well, you're gonna have to take the siding off, either off or cut back siding, and then you, depending on which window it is, you can get a nailing fin to snap into our wood windows. Otherwise, you could use tape to act as a nailing fin up the frame, then onto the buffalo board,
Okay.
or plywood, whatever it has, the foam, whatever they have. But it needs to have an L in there somehow just to protect it.
Okay.
Exactly, for
Okay.
water management, and then you can put your siding back on.
Okay. And if there's something that just doesn't look right, I mean, can we have them call, our branch here and maybe talk to somebody like, hey, I'm looking to install here, but just something doesn't look right.
More than likely to get you to one of us install managers,
Okay.
whoever happens to be here, or get a note to us to give a call back.
Sure. The last thing you want to do is install the windows properly, right? And then open up a whole nother. Good ideas there.
There it is, right there. So
Okay.
that's where you want to make sure you can separate that and get that flashing behind that paper
Okay.
at the top.
You see the house wrap there. We see the siding, the J channel right here, flashing tape, and the head flashing. Okay. So pry the top head J channel siding away from the sheathing. So kind of just going through what you were just talking about. Again, very, very important. And for those of you that have worked with Richard, I'm sure this is old news. But for those of you that haven't, this is really important stuff. And for managing risk, following the guidelines that Pella set forth, it's only going to save you down the road. So no one wants that call from that angry homeowner that they got water coming in, right?
Right.
So let's try to manage that. So what about this one here?
So this is where it's showing you that you gotta supply the sealant to the jambs and the head only. You can see how they're even coming across the bottom of the cripple right there.
Here?
Yep.
Okay.
Before your tape goes on there. So you're just trying to get all those weak points. Sometimes the tape rolls in the corners. So if you caulk it, that's going to help. It doesn't have to be so sharp in the corners.
Okay.
And that's showing you that you're just going to press that sealant over that sheathing, so it's hitting the siding
Right here.
and the stud.
Okay.
Yep. And right here in the sides also.
Okay. Right here. Yep.
Yep.
Excellent.
That's exactly what I just explained right there.
Wonderful. And I will post that out there too on I have a YouTube page that has all these trainings. Very easy to find and resource. You just jump onto youtube.com and just type in my name, and I have all a bunch of if it's installation training or if it's product training or finance training, all that kind of stuff is housed there. So it's very easy to find it. So another example here.
Again, that's still with the low profile install right there.
Okay.
It's just showing you how we do our tape. So, and here's the shimming, depending on how tall your window is, the taller window is, the more shimming points you need on the sides on your jambs. But they're always trying to get the moles right, the shims right in the corners, get your best support, hold that window exactly where it needs to be. So, whether you're doing a finless install or using a fin, that's just going to help you keep everything nice and straight.
Sure. And with the block frame install, right, you're screwing through the jamb.
Yeah, or you can get installation clips that'll actually
Okay.
screw to the side of the window,
Yep.
and then you can actually screw that right to the rough opening, which I think is easier.
So utilizing the install clips.
Yeah,
Right?
utilizing install clips, absolutely.
Not just going into some type of accessory groove then.
Yeah, and then it'll get screwed into the window also.
Okay.
Yep.
Easy enough.
That's a couple half-inch screws.
And installation clips. there, I think you can just through the branch catalog or the corporate catalog there and get those or through PQM as well. So, and then here we go. So, kind of walk us through maybe what's looking for the double hung windows as you're installing those.
Sure. Well, you want to install your double hung. You want to get it all shimmed and everything before you cut that. There's a band right across the middle to hold the frame together because obviously the sashes are pushing it out. It's a pressure fit, and so you want to after you get it all shimmed, you want to cut that band. You just want to check your spacing. You know, you install your window plumb level and square, but you're just going to have to slowly adjust to make sure the sash is meeting the frame right on each top and bottom, and then make sure the center is also even. So make sure your sides are good and straight. And that's going to help change all your lines.
Okay. And if you notice something, or
yeah, they're usually pretty minor
yeah,
for the most part.
Okay.
Hey Brian.
Yes, sir.
You guys are cutting out in and out a little bit. I don't know if it's audio thing or what, but
Okay, maybe what we'll do. Thanks for letting us know. Maybe we got to scoot up a little bit here. We're kind of sharing one screen, so I apologize for that. So thanks for letting us know, Dan. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, Brian, I think you're just sitting a little too far away. Richard, we could hear just fine. You're just kind of missing the mic sitting at the angle there. So
Okay, I appreciate that, Ryan.
yeah, that's better.
Okay, so I think we'll have to just, as we have talking points, we'll just move the computer to have a better audio connection.
So again, here, this is we're installing our foam. We want to put our foam on the frame of the window, not your rough opening. You know, I know a lot of guys like to foam their jams, especially if they're doing loose jams, just for the fact that it's going to help hold that jam in straight. It's going to make it so it won't move it solid. But before you do that, really make sure your window is foamed properly, and make sure you get that foam around the backside of your shims so you create a full seal for any air coming in.
I've seen a lot of, you know, you walk up onto a job site, right, and it's new construction, and they got the foam that's, you know, goozing all over. You know, there's got just excess foam. Is that something that is they're just over foaming and just being wasteful?
Yeah. That deals with the heat and humidity too. Sometimes, you know, when it's cold, that foam doesn't expand as well. But when it's hot or really humid, it foams too much. So that's just trial and error. You learn that as you're doing it.
Sure.
You know, but it typically, like I said, if you spray in at about an inch bead, that's going to easily spread to 2 to 3 inches, and it's going to be more than enough. You don't need to fill that whole pocket to get your energy efficiency. So on a wood window, a lot of times we like to use these trim screws, you know, especially for a wood window because it leaves a smaller hole, and you know, you can fill that in. So that's the screws typically we're using in a you know, if you have jams applied or something, then these work a really good solution, I guess, for sealing that window other than nailing it.
So we have one more slide, and really what we wanted to do is carve out a little bit of time here as before we close out, and great time to ask questions, right? If something that maybe you're unfamiliar with, or maybe you want some more clarification on a certain procedure or method, now is the time to raise your hand and ask those questions. So really, so we'll go through the bays and the bow window real quick, and then from there we'll open it up to the rest of the team here.
So yeah, so our bays hang from a cable system. So you want to you know, open up your soffit if possible, unless you're building the roof. But you just want to make sure you lift that bay up well. And depending on the size of the bay, usually if it's over 10 foot, I believe, then the legs are actually required, but they're recommended for all of them. It just to help give it that support, because that front end is so heavy, you know, it tends to fall. So a lot of times our guys will actually install their bay and raise it up high, like about an 1/8, 3/16, because over time those cables are going to get a little bit of stretch, and by the time they're done stretching, usually your window is going to be sitting in there real nice.
That's good to know. Yeah, for sure. So with that, would like to open this up. I know the recording time here says 30 minutes, but I'd like to open this up for anybody who has questions. If you're sitting there and you're an installer right now and maybe you want to bounce something off of Richard, now is the time to do it. Or if you're maybe a sales rep that just would like to get more clarification on a certain method, yeah, please don't be afraid to reach out here. So with that, I'm going to try to exit out of here. I see Richard Carroll Robert. Brad, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well.
Good.
So,
Go ahead.
how's everything going on your end?
Going great. I just had a quick question. I may have missed the solve on it. So, what is the solve when there isn't house wrap, and the issue with potentially the warranty? What is the solve for that?
So you're either gonna remove the siding and use the nail fin and put it back on, put the siding back on, or you can cut the siding and trim around the window or door.
Okay. So this is, in essence, we'll have planned in advance that this is going to be a nail fin application. And then if we were planning for that, we were planning for trim. I'm just thinking about the, initial sales process and then the order verification process, and when is this uncovered and how do you address it, in flight on a job?
Well, if they got vinyl, it's usually pretty easy. You can usually peel back a little piece and check. Sometimes if they got cedar siding, it's going to be a whole lot harder to figure it out. So typically your homes after, I think around 2005, most of those all have house wrap on them. But before that, it's kind of a guess.
Okay.
So, maybe the homeowner knows if they had the home built, maybe they've had it re-sided and they know. But there's not a 100% guaranteed way to have that answer without seeing it.
Okay. And my follow-up is just on the installation clips. Those are something that we can place with the order, or those are just generic installation clips we should be using?
No, you can place that with them.
Yeah, you can place the order. So if you're working with your sales rep and you have,
Yep.
Maybe you need some installation clips, that's a pickable item in their quoting software. We may even have some here in our parts cage as well. So maybe we can pull from our stock. But yeah, typically if you know that you need install clips beforehand, yeah, let's make sure that we're in front of that.
Cool. Excellent. I'll go back on mute.
Thanks again for all your questions. Yeah, that's fantastic. So anybody else out there that would like to, maybe raise your hand if you have any questions, something that's on your mind, or you just want to run past?
Hey, Brian, I got one for you, please. Bays and bows, everyone's favorite thing in the world, of course. So when we're selling a bay and bow and we have our insulated seat board, naturally the top layers of seat board goes all the way into the house room side. And then we have our layer of foam and our bottom layer, which is cut back at wall depth. If you have a row of brick soldiers going underneath, say you're taking out a flat window, putting in a bay or bow. So you got that row of brick soldiers running along the bottom. How do you measure or account for the fact that foam and bottom layer of insulation is going to want to run in and hit the brick soldiers? Do you measure to go up on top of that, or do you plan to cut that in the field and modify?
It really depends on how much room you have out there. You can do it either way. I would, if you have a window that's say you're taking a window out that's a low profile, so that those shoulders come right up to the bottom of the window, you're probably going to want that cut so it matches up to the block. But if you have an old wood window in there that has a a lower sill right now, that one you're gonna probably do just the jam depth of the wall. Cause that should go up and over top of those bricks.
Yeah, yeah.
Anybody else? I know when we thought about hosting this call, it would have, the thought was it would have been nice to have been in the warehouse and you have kind of the whole buck system that we could have walked through, but it's tough when you have forklifts running around and it's very noisy back there. So we just thought, hey, we'd want to just, spend some time with y'all and just, now is a great time to, kind of regroup and figure out, okay, what are some of the gaps that I have right now? Is it, I don't have my installers quite yet, or maybe, I only have a few guys, but they're swamped, but I have a base of business that really could use some extra relief. Again, lean on us for that. We would love to talk to you about those specific jobs. But then also too, right? If you already have your guys and you want to know what good looks like, and we don't want to, create any issues out there, and again, minimizing risk. So we wanted to at least create a call that could, speak to some of those key points. So,
Yeah.
So with that, I mean, I'll give you guys another 13 minutes of your life back, and again, I mean, if there's no other questions, yeah, feel free to reach out. If you do after the fact, Rob, you got something?
Yeah, I just did real quick. So did I miss it? I had some interruptions at my office here. The slides from today, are those that are you able to share those?
Yep. So what I'll do is I've recorded this, and what I'll do is I'll put that onto that YouTube page that I was talking about. Just It's simple. You just go to YouTube and just type in my name, and it has a bunch of finance training, product training, in-home selling training, now installation training. There's some other trainings in there as well. So it's a great little point of reference if you are looking for something, or maybe you have a few new sales guys that you just want to maybe show them, what does an in-home selling process look like? We have that in there. So
great, awesome.
Easy
Thank
enough. You bet. With that said, I'm gonna say goodbye for now until our next call. And again, appreciate your time, and
All right, you guys have a good day. Thank you.
appreciate it, guys. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Oh, look at that timing. And yeah, I'm in Adam's. For Jim?